I became a stay-at-home dad while my wife climbed the corporate ladder. Then I discovered her year-long affair with her boss. I never thought I'd be sharing this story, but I need to get it off my chest. I'm Daryl, 32M, and this is the tale of how my life turned upside down because of my ex-wife, Julianne, 31F. Julianne and I met during our junior year of college. We were both studying business at State University, known for its competitive program. I remember the first day I saw her in our advanced marketing class. She walked in, confident and poised, her dark hair pulled back in a neat ponytail. We were paired up for a group project, and I was immediately struck by her intelligence and drive. Our relationship didn't start right away. We became friends first, study partners who'd spend hours in the library preparing for exams and working on assignments. Julianne had a boyfriend at the time, a senior named Jake. I respected their relationship and kept my growing feelings to myself. It wasn't until the start of our senior year that things changed. Julianne and Jake had broken up over the summer, long distance hadn't worked for them. We started spending more time together outside of class, grabbing coffee or going for walks around campus. One night, after a particularly stressful day of interviews for internships, we went out for drinks with some friends. As we walked back to our dorms, Julianne kissed me. It was unexpected but felt right. From that point on, we were inseparable. We'd always worked well together academically, but now we were partners in every sense of the word. We supported each other through the stress of senior year, job applications, and graduation. When we both landed entry-level positions at different companies in the city, it felt like everything was falling into place. After graduation, we moved in together. It was a tiny one-bedroom apartment, but it was ours. We were young and in love, working hard during the day and enjoying our evenings and weekends together. I worked at a small marketing firm, while Julianne started at a larger corporation in their sales department. Those first 2 years were some of the happiest of my life. We were building our careers, but we also made time for each other. We'd explore the city on weekends, trying new restaurants and visiting museums. We even adopted a cat together, a tabby we named Whiskers. Julianne was always ambitious, but I admired that about her. She'd stay late at work, volunteering for extra projects and networking with higher-ups. Her hard work paid off when she got her first promotion 2 years into her job. I was so proud of her, and we celebrated with a fancy dinner out. But with the promotion came changes. Julianne's hours got longer, and she started traveling for work. At first, it was just a day trip here and there, but soon she was gone for days at a time. I tried to be understanding, knowing how important her career was to her. I'd keep myself busy with work and friends, but I couldn't shake the feeling that we were starting to drift apart. On our 3rd anniversary, I decided to propose. I planned a romantic weekend getaway to the beach where we'd had our first vacation together. I proposed at sunset, and Julianne said yes. She seemed happy, but looking back, I realized her enthusiasm wasn't quite what I'd expected. The wedding planning should have been a red flag. Julianne was often distracted during appointments, forgetting details or canceling at the last minute. She'd apologize, citing work stress, and I'd let it slide. I was so focused on the idea of our perfect future that I ignored the warning signs. We got married in a small ceremony with close friends and family. Julianne's parents, who had always been a bit cold towards me, seemed particularly tense that day. I later learned they had urged Julianne to reconsider, saying she was too young and focused on her career to settle down. But Julianne had insisted she was ready. The honeymoon was great, 2 weeks in Hawaii, away from work and responsibilities. Julianne seemed relaxed and happy, more like the woman I'd fallen in love with in college. But as soon as we returned home, reality set in. Julianne dove back into work with renewed intensity. She'd come home late, often bringing work with her. Our dinner conversations revolved around her latest projects or office politics. I tried to be supportive, but I couldn't help feeling neglected. When I brought up my concerns, Julianne would get defensive, accusing me of not understanding the pressures she was under. We started arguing more frequently, usually about her long hours or her lack of interest in our home life. About 6 months into our marriage, Julianne dropped a bombshell: she was pregnant. I was shocked but excited. We hadn't been trying, but I'd always wanted to be a father. Julianne, on the other hand, seemed less enthusiastic. She worried about how it would affect her career, but I assured her we'd figure it out together. The pregnancy was tough. Julianne suffered from severe morning sickness and was constantly stressed about work. She'd snap at me over small things, then break down crying, blaming it on hormones. I did my best to take care of her, but she often pushed me away. When our daughter, Lily, was born, I hoped things would get better. The first few weeks were a blur of sleepless nights and diaper changes. Julianne struggled with breastfeeding and postpartum depression. I took time off work to help, but Julianne seemed to resent my presence rather than appreciate it. Julianne went back to work as soon as her maternity leave ended, leaving me to handle most of the childcare. I adjusted my work schedule, going part-time to be home more. I told myself it was temporary, just until we found our footing as parents. A year passed, and Julianne got another promotion. She came home one day, excited about the opportunity but concerned about the increased workload. That's when she suggested I become a stay-at-home dad. At first, I was hesitant. I'd worked hard to build my own career, and the idea of giving it up was daunting. But Julianne made some compelling arguments. Her new salary would be more than enough to support us, and it would allow me to spend more time with Lily. After much discussion, I agreed. The transition to being a stay-at-home dad was challenging. I loved spending time with Lily, watching her grow and learn new things every day. But I also missed the adult interaction and sense of purpose my job had provided. I joined a local parents group and started taking Lily to library story times and playdates, which helped. Meanwhile, Julianne became more and more distant. She was rarely home, always citing work commitments. When she was home, she was glued to her phone or laptop. Family dinners became a thing of the past. Julianne would often eat at the office or grab something quick when she got home late. I tried to talk to her about it, but she always brushed off my concerns. She'd say I didn't understand the pressures of her job or accuse me of being jealous of her success. I felt like I was walking on eggshells in my own home. The woman I married, the one who used to laugh at my jokes and share her dreams with me, seemed to have disappeared. Things came to a head on Lily's second birthday. Julianne had promised to take the day off work to celebrate with us. I spent days planning a special family outing to the zoo, followed by a small party with some of Lily's little friends. The morning of Lily's birthday, Julianne announced she had an important meeting she couldn't miss. I was furious, but she left before I could say anything. I took Lily to the zoo myself, trying to keep a smile on my face for her sake. We had cake with her friends in the afternoon, and everyone asked where Julianne was. I made excuses, feeling embarrassed and angry. That evening, Julianne came home late, reeking of alcohol. When I confronted her, she broke down and confessed she'd been having an affair with her boss for the past year. The pregnancy, the promotions, the late nights at the office, it had all been a lie. I was devastated. Not only had Julianne betrayed me, but she'd also used our daughter as a pawn in her game. She begged me to forgive her, saying she'd end the affair and we could work things out. But I knew I could never trust her again. The past year replayed in my mind, all the little inconsistencies and excuses suddenly making sense. I asked Julianne to leave that night. She went to stay with a friend, while I tried to process what had happened. The next few days were a blur. I called my parents, who came to stay with us and help with Lily. I met with a lawyer to understand my options. I filed for divorce the next week. Julianne didn't contest it, probably realizing how badly she'd messed up. The divorce process was surprisingly quick, given that we hadn't been married long and I had been the primary caregiver for Lily. I was granted full custody, with Julianne having visitation rights every other weekend. It's been 6 months since the divorce was finalized. I've gone back to work part-time and found a great daycare for Lily. It's been challenging, balancing work and single parenthood, but we're managing. My parents have been incredibly supportive, often helping out with Lily when I need to work late. Yesterday, I received a call from Julianne. She was crying, saying she'd made a huge mistake and wanted another chance. She said she'd quit her job and was willing to do anything to win me back. I told her it was too late and hung up. Now, I'm conflicted. Part of me still loves the woman I thought Julianne was, but I know that person never really existed. The Julianne I knew in college, the one I fell in love with, was just a facade. The real Julianne is someone who could lie to me for years, who could use our child as a cover for her affair. Am I wrong for not giving her another chance? Should I consider reconciliation for Lily's sake? I worry about Lily growing up without her mother, but is having Julianne in her life worth the risk of more pain and betrayal? I could use some advice. How do I move forward from here? How do I explain all of this to Lily when she's older? And how do I trust anyone again after this? Update 1. It's been 2 months since my last post, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone for their support and advice. Your comments really helped me gain perspective on my situation and gave me the strength to make some tough decisions. After that phone call from Julianne, I decided we needed to have a face-to-face conversation. Not for the sake of reconciliation, but to establish clear boundaries and discuss Lily's future. We agreed to meet at a neutral location, a coffee shop near my apartment. When Julianne walked in, I was struck by how different she looked. Gone was the polished, confident woman I remembered. She seemed tired, with dark circles under her eyes and her hair hastily pulled back. She ordered a decaf coffee, which surprised me. Julianne used to joke that decaf was just brown water. We started with small talk, asking about Lily and work. Then Julianne launched into a long apology. She said she'd been in therapy, trying to understand why she'd acted the way she did. She talked about feeling pressured to succeed, about using her career and the affair as a way to prove her worth. She said she missed Lily terribly and wanted to be a better mother. I listened quietly, trying to keep my emotions in check. Part of me wanted to believe her, to think that maybe she had changed. But another part remembered all the lies, all the times she'd chosen her career and her affair over our family. Then Julianne dropped another bombshell. She was pregnant. The baby was her ex-boss's, but he wanted nothing to do with it. She said she was scared and didn't know what to do. Part of me felt sympathy for her, but another part wondered if this was just another manipulation tactic. I made it clear that while I appreciated her apology, reconciliation was not on the table. Too much had happened, and the trust was irreparably broken. However, I did agree to revisit our custody arrangement. If she was serious about being a better mother to Lily, I was willing to give her more time with our daughter. We set up a new schedule where Julianne would have Lily 3 days a week instead of just every other weekend. I made it clear that this was conditional on her behaving responsibly and putting Lily's needs first. We also discussed how we would handle the news of Julianne's pregnancy with Lily, agreeing to wait until Julianne was further along before telling her. The next few weeks were a roller coaster. Julianne seemed to be trying hard with Lily. She was punctual for pickups and drop-offs, and Lily seemed happy after spending time with her. Julianne would send me updates about their activities, trips to the park, baking cookies, reading stories. It was the kind of mother-daughter relationship I'd always hoped they'd have. But there were concerning incidents too. One day, Julianne called me in tears, saying she couldn't handle Lily's tantrums and needed me to pick her up early. Another time, she forgot Lily's favorite stuffed animal and called me in a panic to bring it to her place. These weren't major issues, but they made me wonder if Julianne was really ready for more parental responsibility. Then came the day Julianne didn't show up to pick up Lily. I called and texted her multiple times with no response. After 3 hours, I was about to call the police when she finally called back. She said she'd overslept after taking some medication for morning sickness. I was furious. This was exactly the kind of irresponsible behavior I was worried about. We had another serious talk after that incident. I told Julianne that while I appreciated her efforts, Lily's well-being had to come first. We agreed to scale back to the original custody arrangement until after the baby was born and Julianne had a chance to adjust to having a newborn. Throughout all of this, I've been focusing on my own healing and on being the best father I can be to Lily. I've started going to therapy myself, trying to work through my trust issues and anger. It's been helpful to have a space to process everything that's happened. I've also started dating again, nothing serious, just casual coffee meetups. It feels strange to be back in the dating world after everything that's happened, but it's also nice to be reminded that there are good people out there. I'm taking things slow, being careful not to introduce anyone to Lily until I'm sure it's serious. As for Julianne's pregnancy, I've made it clear that while I'll support her as Lily's mother, I'm not getting involved with her new baby. It's a tricky situation, and I'm not sure how it will all play out once the baby is born. Will Lily be jealous of her new half-sibling? How will we explain the situation to her? That's where things stand now. Julianne is about 5 months pregnant, and we're sticking to our original custody arrangement. Lily is doing well, though she sometimes asks why mommy's tummy is getting big. I'm taking things one day at a time and trying to make the best decisions I can for my daughter. I'll update again if anything significant changes. Thanks again for all your support. It means more than you know. Update 2. It's been 4 months since my last update, and once again, a lot has changed. I apologize for the long post, but I want to give you all the full picture. Julianne gave birth to her son, Jacob, 2 months ago. The birth was complicated. Julianne had preeclampsia and had to have an emergency C-section. She ended up staying in the hospital for a week afterward. During this time, I took care of Lily full-time and even brought her to visit Julianne and Jacob in the hospital a couple of times. It was a strange experience, to say the least. Lily was confused about the whole situation. She kept asking why mommy was in the hospital and who the baby was. I tried to explain as simply as I could that mommy had a new baby, and that Jacob was Lily's half-brother. She seemed to accept this, but I could tell she was struggling with the changes. When Julianne was released from the hospital, she struggled to cope with having a newborn. She called me frequently, asking for advice or just to vent. I tried to be supportive while maintaining boundaries, but it was challenging. I found myself falling back into old patterns, wanting to take care of Julianne and fix everything for her. I had to remind myself constantly that we were no longer together, and that her problems were not mine to solve. About a month after Jacob was born, Julianne's ex-boss, Jacob's father, suddenly reappeared in the picture. Apparently, he had a change of heart and wanted to be involved in his son's life. This caused a lot of drama and stress for Julianne, which inevitably affected Lily. There were a few instances where Julianne was too overwhelmed to take Lily for her scheduled visitations. I understood the difficulty of her situation, but I was also frustrated by the impact on Lily, who didn't understand why her visits with mommy were being cancelled. Lily started acting out at home and at school, throwing tantrums and refusing to do her homework. Her teacher called me in for a conference, concerned about the changes in Lily's behavior. Things came to a head last week. Julianne called me, hysterical, saying she couldn't handle it all, the baby, her ex, and being a part-time mom to Lily. She asked if I would consider taking full custody of Lily, with her having only occasional visitation rights. I was shocked. While part of me was relieved at the idea of having full control over Lily's upbringing, another part was angry that Julianne would even consider giving up more time with our daughter. I told her I needed time to think about it and that we should discuss this with a family counselor. We met with a counselor, and after a long discussion, we came to a decision. I would have primary custody of Lily, with Julianne having her every other weekend and one evening during the week for dinner. This arrangement would be reviewed in 6 months to see how it's working for everyone, especially Lily. Julianne seemed both relieved and sad about this decision. She said she loves Lily but feels overwhelmed and thinks this is best for everyone right now. I'm still processing my feelings about it all. Part of me is angry that Julianne seems to be choosing her new baby over Lily, but another part understands that she's in a difficult situation. Lily, for her part, seems to be adjusting well to the new arrangement. She's always been a resilient kid, and she enjoys the stability of being with me most of the time. We talk about mommy, and I make sure to never speak negatively about Julianne in front of Lily. I've also enrolled Lily in play therapy to help her process all the changes in her life. As for me, I'm doing okay. It's challenging being a single dad, but I have a good support system. My parents have been incredibly helpful, often babysitting Lily when I need to work late or have other commitments. I've also reconnected with some old friends who've been supportive. I've also been seeing someone, Sarah, 29F, a kindergarten teacher I met through a mutual friend. It's still early days, but she's kind, patient, and great with Lily. We met at a local playground where I'd taken Lily one weekend. Sarah was there with her nephew, and we got talking while the kids played. We've been on a few dates since then, always when Lily is with Julianne. I'm taking things slow and being cautious about introducing her to Lily as more than a friend. Work has been another area of change. I've gone back to full-time hours, which has been an adjustment. My boss has been understanding about my situation and allows me to work flexible hours when needed. I'm grateful for the stability and distraction that work provides. That's where things stand now. It's not the life I imagined for myself or for Lily, but we're making the best of it. Julianne is figuring out her new life with Jacob and her ex, and I'm focused on providing a stable, loving home for our daughter. I'll update again if there are any major changes. Thank you all for your continued support and advice. Update 3, it's been 6 months since my last update, and as always, life has thrown some curveballs our way. Here's what's been happening. The new custody arrangement has been working well for Lily. She's thriving in school and her extracurricular activities. She's taken up ballet and loves her weekly classes. Having a consistent routine seems to have really benefited her. Her play therapist says she's made great progress in processing her feelings about the divorce and the changes in her family. Julianne has been sticking to the schedule, which I appreciate. She seems to have found her footing as a mother to both Lily and Jacob. Our interactions during drop-offs and pickups are cordial, if not warm. We've managed to attend a few of Lily's school events together without any drama, which I consider a win. Julianne's situation has stabilized somewhat. She and Jacob's father, Mark, 38M, have been co-parenting, though they're not in a romantic relationship. Julianne seems to be handling motherhood better now that Jacob is a bit older and she has more support. She's even mentioned looking for a part-time job, which I think would be good for her. My relationship with Sarah has grown stronger. We've been dating for about 8 months now, and things are going well. Lily adores her, which is both heartwarming and a little scary. I'm cautious about letting Lily get too attached, but Sarah has been wonderful with her. She comes over for dinner once a week, and we've started doing fun weekend activities together, like trips to the zoo or local festivals. The real twist came about a month ago. Julianne called me out of the blue, asking to meet. When we got together, she told me she'd been offered a job in another state, a fantastic opportunity that would advance her career significantly. The catch? She wanted to take Lily with her. I was floored. After everything that had happened, after she had agreed to reduced custody, she was now asking to take our daughter away? I immediately said no, but Julianne wasn't backing down. She argued that she was in a better place now and could provide a great life for Lily in the new city. We had several heated discussions about this. I refused to budge, pointing out how well Lily was doing with our current arrangement and how disruptive it would be to move her away from her school, friends, and family. Julianne threatened to take legal action. I consulted with my lawyer, who assured me that given our current custody agreement and my consistent involvement in Lily's life, it was highly unlikely a judge would allow Julianne to move Lily out of state against my wishes. Still, the threat of a legal battle was stressful. During this time, I struggled with whether to tell Lily about the potential move. I didn't want to worry her unnecessarily, but I also didn't want her to be blindsided if things progressed. In the end, I decided to keep it from her until we had a definitive resolution. After about 2 weeks of back and forth, Julianne finally backed down. She admitted that she'd let the excitement of the job offer cloud her judgment and that she knew, deep down, that moving Lily wasn't the right thing to do. She apologized for causing stress and promised to be more considerate in the future. In the end, Julianne decided to turn down the job offer. She said that being close to Lily was more important than any career advancement. While I'm glad she made this decision, the whole situation has left me wary. It's clear that co-parenting with Julianne will always be a challenge. On a brighter note, Sarah and I have been talking about moving in together. We're planning to start looking for a larger apartment that would comfortably fit the three of us. Lily is excited about the idea, especially since Sarah promised her they could decorate her new room together. As for Julianne, she's still seeing Lily according to our custody agreement. Our interactions are civil but distant. I'm hopeful that over time, we'll be able to build a more positive co-parenting relationship for Lily's sake. That's where things stand now. Life isn't perfect, but Lily is happy and healthy, and that's what matters most. I'm learning to navigate this new normal, balancing my roles as a father, a professional, and a partner to Sarah. It's not always easy, but it's getting better day by day. Thank you all for your support throughout this journey. Your advice and encouragement have been invaluable. I'll update again if there are any significant changes in our situation.